Now, this time I got lucky. So I did get the scholarship, and I went to England to study, and I spent 3, again, great years studying there and I got a couple of degrees more in economics. And then at the end of 3 years, again, of course, I faced the same problem. I had to do something with my life, and all the sensible people said that I must get myself a job. So I wrote out a CV and sent it out. Again, remember, this is the very early days of internet. So again, you have to actually write letters and send them out. So I sent out my CV, and I got 2 more letters. One of them was from a company in Singapore, which I had never visited, and from a company I'd never heard of called Crosby Securities, because a friend of a friend had mentioned me to them. And the other one was from a company called Morgan Grenfell, which was then the top investment bank in London. And the problem was, of course, that the interview was on the same day. As you by now must have guessed, I took the business class ticket to Singapore. It turned out actually the Crosby Securities was a reasonable company, so I did take the job up, and I spent a couple of years there. And then after a couple of years, I joined Deutsche Bank. At about exactly the same time that I joined Deutsche Bank took over Morgan Grenfell, which is in some ways good, because I would have probably lost my job anyway if I had joined Morgan Grenfell. Anyway, so then I basically became a financial markets economist. I covered Asian financial markets for the most part for many years, doing basically things like guessing the way interest rates were going, betting on changes in the stock market, and so on. And I quite enjoy doing that kind of stuff. But while I was doing this, some issue began to bother me. That although I could see these enormous big changes that were happening around me, but since I covered Asia, and huge GDP growth rates and so on, it began to bother me that much of this growth was beginning to happen at the cost of environmental damage, at the cost of things that should be good for future generations. And I came to the conclusion that one of the real problems with this was that we were measuring human progress in a way that I was not comfortable with, which is that we overwhelmingly defined human progress in terms of GDP growth. And the problem with GDP growth is that it's actually not a natural construct. It is a construct created of the 1940s. And we tend to all get very excited about GDP growth, but in fact, it's an extremely flawed measure. And this is not something I discovered. It has been known right from the beginning, but not much has been